might have seen earlier, I made a video on how to make a basic tomato sauce, which is this one here. Okay, so that's our basic tomato sauce that I made earlier. So what I'm going to do is make some meatballs to go with it, using very limited ingredients, things you can get hold of at your local butcher or in a supermarket, and they're readily available. I went out shopping yesterday, the day before yesterday, and managed to get these ingredients anyway. So they're definitely in the supermarkets and they're ready and available if you're going out. So what we're going to do is we've got minced pork. So we've got 250 grams of minced pork or sausage meat. So I've actually bought sausage meat because it's already got rusk and breadcrumb and things like that in it. So it makes it a very simple recipe. So 250 grams of sausage meat. Then
what about if you're gluten free?
Then use minced pork and leave the breadcrumbs out, or use a gluten free breadcrumb. But I can put some suggestions up for that. If you were using 250 grams of minced pork, about 3 tablespoons of gluten free breadcrumbs you can mix in with it.
Okay.
And you can buy minced pork as well from supermarkets and butchers, they'll mince it for you anyway, so that's not a problem. So for about that, 3 tablespoons of gluten-free breadcrumbs. We've got equal amount of minced beef, so there's 250 grams of minced beef. This is a 12% minced beef, so it's not the fattiest, but it's not the leanest, so it'll be really nice. It will keep a lot of the moisture, won't dry out too much, don't want anything too fatty. We've got 1 egg just to help bind it. I've got a clove of garlic just to add a bit more flavour, and I've got here 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese as well.
What if you haven't got Parmesan cheese?
Well, you don't have to add it, it's just a bit of an indulgence and a luxury that I'm going to put into it. You don't have to add Parmesan to it. And when you finish it with it, making the spaghetti, you could, if you've got cheddar cheese, you could grate cheddar over the top of it. I wouldn't put cheddar in this because it becomes quite stringy, and Parmesan will help add to the flavour to it. So basically, it's a really simple technique. All we're going to do is mix it all together. So it's very, very simple. And then we're going to split it out. It should feed 4 people. This amount here should feed 4 people. So we're going to, there's only 2 of us here for dinner tonight, so I'm going to freeze some of the meatballs down that we're not using. So we pop our beef in the bowl in fact, and our sausage meat in there. Okay. Then I'm going to break my egg, just making sure that I don't get any shell in there, which is lovely. Add our Parmesan cheese, and then all I'm going to do from there is crush my garlic in the same way I did when I made the tomato sauce. So just put my knife on the top, crush it down, and just add a little bit of salt to the top of it. You don't have to add extra garlic in there if you don't want to.
We love garlic.
But I like garlic, yeah, absolutely, we like garlic. So just give that a quick chop, and then remember last time the technique, just run the knife over the garlic just to crush it down. Careful your finger when you're running along the blade, that you're going from the thick parts of the sharp bit. Okay. Don't run it the other way, do something to cut yourselves.
And don't blame us if you cut yourselves.
Exactly, don't blame us. You've got to find us first. Anyway, so I'm just going to pop that in there. Now, sausage meat, the reason you're adding, I like to use sausage meat in this, is that it's already got seasoning in it. You can add herbs. If you're using pork mince, you could add herbs in there. So you could add, your dried oregano or your dried basil or parsley or anything like that, or dried herbs out of the cupboard. But there's always herbs in sausage meat, so it's quite flavoursome anyway. So you've just got to get your hands dirty now and literally just combine it all together. Okay, don't be scared. Get your hands dirty. Okay, so we want to mix that so it's nice and evenly spread between the two. You could use chicken mince. If you can't eat pork, you could use minced chicken in here as well, for those who aren't able to eat pork. So that wouldn't be a problem to do as well. You could do a chicken sausage meat if you like, to go with it. So it just helps, just spreads it. Otherwise, if you put onions in there and things like that, the meatballs can spread apart and break up. So by using sausage meat, I just find it works a little bit easier. So that there is nicely mixed in and nice and even. I'm just going to rest that, let that sit for a few minutes and rest it. Just going to cover it over with cling film. Just rest it and let it sit in the bowl just so it sort of infuses together all the flavours. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Hi there, welcome back. So just save a bit of time. It's been resting for 10 minutes, and just save a bit of time. I've already made some balls and put them on the tray. So we're going to make another 4 balls. So I've divided these into 20-gram pieces, which will allow for about 7 balls per portion. You can make bigger balls if you like bigger balls, or you can have them as smaller balls. It's entirely up to you. Everyone's got their own preference on the size of the meatballs that they like to eat. So I'm just going to weigh these out into 20-gram pieces for you. So they're about 20 grams, 21, 22 grams, doesn't matter too much, as long as you've got enough for 7 per portion. I need 4 more, so I'm just going to divide that in half. Okay, perfect. And how we make it is that we literally, don't miss your hand, just literally throw it at your hand and then roll it. So by throwing it, you're compacting it, okay? And then it shouldn't have sort of gaps in the middle of it, okay? So as long as you're a good aim, it won't go everywhere. Okay, roll it, pop it on the tray. And once we've done all of these, we're going to cover them and we're going to put them in the fridge for 20 minutes. So they firm up a little bit, and we want them firm when we start to seal them off in the pan, so they don't split everywhere and go everywhere on the tray. So I'm going to wrap these in cling film, pop them in the oven, and I'll see you in a minute when we're going to fry them off. Right there, so the meatballs have been resting in the fridge. I've taken them out. I've got a pan on the stove, just warming up, a non-stick pan, nice big pan here, and that should be nice and warm. Just getting in there. I don't want to add any other fat to the pan because there's enough fat in the sausage meat and the beef. Okay, so I'm just going to drop these into the pan. Hopefully you heard a bit of sizzle. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we're just going to brown these off gently in the pan. Okay, so I'm going to 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to put the rest of these in the freezer for a later date. So soon as it's for dinner tonight. So I'm just going to start browning these off. And once they're all covered and all brown, I'm going to add half of the tomato sauce that I made earlier. That's about 250 grams of tomato sauce. That's 500 grams of tomato sauce there. So I'm going to pop that over the top of it and then simmer that for 10 to 15 minutes until the meatballs are cooked. So once I put the tomato sauce on, I can then put my pasta in. I've got a pan on here warming up, just down here. I'm going to pop some salt and some olive oil in there so it doesn't stick together, and it's going to cook for about 10 minutes. So that takes around about 10 minutes to cook to the box on there. Okay, I'm using gluten-free pasta. I've been sort of doing a bit of a gluten-free diet because I've been eating too much gluten in my diet and it's been making me feel a bit unwell. So I've reduced the amount of gluten in my diet, and I've been using this gluten-free pasta. It's made out of corn, and it is really nice. So I highly recommend that. It's a good alternative if you want to reduce the amount of gluten you're having in your diet.
Especially if you want garlic bread with your meatballs.
Especially if you want garlic bread. Well, I haven't garlic bread tonight because I haven't done the tutorial on how to make garlic bread. So you have to do without that tonight. So we're going to just brown these over. Okay, so don't want to burn them, so we're going to keep an eye on it. Regulate the heat a little bit, so be mindful when you're cooking things about the temperature that you're cooking at. It's not about cooking things on full pelt the whole time. It's about making sure that they look nice and you're regulating the heat to cook things evenly. So we want to get a nice brown colour all the way over these little meatballs, which we're getting there. If you don't want to use your finger, I like using a spatula or a spoon and a finger because I've got clean hands. You can use 2 spoons if you like, or a pair of tongs. But when you've been working in the trade for many years, you don't really have the feeling in the end of your fingers that you have if you don't work in the trade. So you can end up putting your hands into quite hot situations. It doesn't hurt as much as it would do for people who aren't used to it. So we just brown those over. I'm pretty happy with those. They're pretty much all done. Okay.
So why do you brown them first?
Why do you brown them first? It adds flavour and texture. Okay. It's not about sealing flavours in, anything like that. It's about adding flavours to the outside of the food. So if you've got duck breast, if you're rendering the fat down on the duck breast and you're caramelising the rest of it, it adds flavour to the dish. If you just put it in the oven and cook it, it's just a bit bland. So by you caramelising the natural sugars in, everything contains natural sugars, so you're caramelising the natural sugars to add flavours, adds flavour to the food that you're preparing. But it's just knowing.
And a bit of texture, as you said.
And a bit of texture, absolutely. You don't want them to be just lumps of meat in there. It wouldn't be very nice if you just had raw mint, or not raw mince, but unfried mince. Just put in something, it would just be quite horrible texture. Especially with the sausage meat in there. So we're getting there, I'm quite happy with those. And I'm going to add in the tomato sauce now. So I'm going to pop half of this in. So I'm just going to spoon that over the top.
See, I just chuck it in.
Why?
Because I'm a messy cook.
Well, you are, yeah. So I've just chucked it. You just said I've just chucked it in. So it's going to pop that in, and that's going to cook in the sauce nice and gently. We might need to add a little bit more water to it during the cooking process if it reduces too much. But I'm just going to keep that on a lowish heat, and I'm just going to cover that with a little bit of tin foil. Keep checking back to it. Needs a bigger tin foil. Going to cover that over. Okay, just leave a little bit of a chimney for the heat to come out. Just going to cook that on a nice low heat for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, and I'll see you when that's done. Before that, actually, if I'm reminded, I'm just going to put the pasta in. So we're going to a little bit of salt in there. Capful of olive oil, and there's quite a lot of, it's quite a deep pan, so I always like to cook pasta in a deeper pan. It just helps the spread of it. So we've got half a box there, which is enough for 2 people. So just bring that to the boil and just allow it to bend, fall in. Okay, just so it goes around the edges, and then just give that a quick stir to make sure it's separated. And then the time that's cooked, the meatballs should be ready and done as well. So I'll see you when that's ready. Right there, so that's been 10 minutes. Pasta is just about cooked. And the meatballs, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can. They're there. Look at that, lovely, absolutely beautiful. They're cooked. And I've just been keeping an eye on that sauce, stirring it every couple of minutes, really low heat. I don't know if you can see the flame that I've got on there. I don't know if it comes up on the camera very well. It is a very low heat, but that's plenty hot enough. Can't see. You see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so very low heat. You don't have to use a pan this big, but I like this pan, so that's why I'm using it. So if you've got a smaller pan, it's absolutely fine and it probably won't reduce as much. So this is done, the pasta's done, so I've got a colander ready in the sink, so a strainer. So I'm just going to strain that off. That was a bit warm. And all I'm going to do is just pop that on top, let it drain. I'm just going to pop a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, just over the top of it, so it doesn't stick together. It just adds a little bit of flavour. Now, if you've got some parsley or something, if you grow herbs at home, you might grow herbs, and you want a little bit of fresh parsley, that would be absolutely lovely in there as well.
Or just chop it up and chuck it in?
Just chop it up, chuck it in, yeah, absolutely. Don't forget the water's had salt in it, and it's had oil in it, so the pasta's going to be quite flavoursome anyway. So what I'm going to do, you can do it two ways. You can either put the pasta into the pan and toss it over, or I quite like doing it this way. So just grab your bowl, get your pasta in the bottom of your bowls. Got a little pasta lifter contraption thing here. I don't know what the actual name of it is, but it's pretty cool.
Pasta lifter contraption.
Yeah. Technical term, that one. If you haven't heard of that one before, I'm sure someone will tell me what it's actually called. Okay.
Spaghetti fork.
Probably. Okay, so that's there, and then we're going to share our meatballs out. So 7, wasn't it? I think we said. It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Bit of maths here as well, isn't it?
5. It is, and English. 6. 7 because I'm speaking. And then they are
1, 2, 3. I suppose it should be Italian if we're having meatballs, shouldn't it? I've got no idea about Italian. Sorry.
rubbish. Okay, so that there, and then we've got the sauce. So I'm just going to put a little bit of sauce over the top, like so.
Those spoons are good, aren't they?
These spoons are brilliant.
What is it? A silicone?
Yeah, silicone spoon, yeah. And it doesn't
Picks
scratch.
up all the
Picks it all up, don't get any wastage in there. And then just over the top, just like so. I'm going to pop that on there. Then I've got a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Just going to sprinkle over the top. Get some nice fresh herbs as well, which I don't actually, they're all frozen. But if I have some fresh ones, I'll sprinkle some fresh herbs over the top. But there we go. That's our meatballs using the tomato sauce made earlier and a little bit of gluten-free spaghetti. That'd be absolutely lovely. See you later.